Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and Mike Jones is here with me too. Hello, Mike. You're here with me too?
Yes, I'm here with you too.
Okay.
Also,
Glad to hear it. You know, Google, for the first time in human history, had 1 billion people using Google, not Google Hangouts like we're doing, but using Google, 1 billion people a couple of days ago.
at the same at one time.
At one time.
Wow.
That's a lot of people. They've been running into a bunch of problems in Europe, of all places. You might expect that in, I don't know, well, Russia's in Europe, but you might expect it in the Middle East. No, they're running into problems in Europe where some of the politicians there have said, listen, we want to be able to put a limit on how long videos about us, the politicians, stay, which is a big problem for these county commissioners here because we videotape them, we put them up on the internet, and they're going to be there forever. So 10 years from now, when Simon Harris is saying, "Well, I've always been completely," no, that's not going to work out so well for you there, bud. It's a lasting legacy. Well, apparently they don't want that problem in some countries in Europe where they're putting restrictions on Google.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
yes,
they are in a country that allows them to do that sort of thing because
that's right.
They're in charge and they
They're
don't
the
have
ruling elite.
some of the right exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm certain that these people here would love to be able to do that. Poor Cameron Kemp. I mean, they put so much pressure on that guy. He just dropped out. I mean, he even came to a weekly business. I hardly know Dale Matthews. Oh, Cameron, please. Oh, poor guy. He joined a Rotary Club and the whole bit. So I guess he's happy now. He was the one that came up to me and said, and came to my house and said, maybe we can still be secret friends. Aw. Well, okay, everyone has to live with themselves. What we've been trying to do is keep track of what it is that the county commissioners are doing, especially them. And we've been watching over the city, and they haven't made it easy for us to watch over what they're doing and give you high quality video. But I sit there at these meetings and we videotape and we get the best audio, best video that we possibly can. And while you may be seeing it with a little bit of jerkiness, imposed by the two jerks on our show, but a little bit of jerkiness of the video on our live show, when we put it for you to see without commentary, it's pristine, as good as it's ever going to get. The video that we had last night from the Gold Hill City Council, that had great audio, even though they've got microphones in front of them, they don't use them. And so we got really good audio from that, but that takes a while to get that right for you.
Now, did that come from the cameras and then
Yes.
you just boosted it, or?
Yeah, from the camera. And then what I do is, no, it's not highly edited. What I do is I try to sharpen up the video. I try to improve the color. I try to make the coloration of the sound a little bit better. Decrease
highly edited.
No, it's not. Decrease some of the echo, and occasionally I have to go through with some of these people.
Inserts words, words that support his highly biased way of thinking about things here.
Brother, you get to hear their voices. The only difference in the little back room with the commissioners is I have to constantly boost the audio of Simon Hare. I have to boost his audio sometimes by 500%. And now the finance director,
times.
Yes, and now the finance director is starting to do that too. When they start talking about something kind of controversial, the finance director, you can almost not hear what he's saying. Really? Well, let me tell you, it's kind of controversial, Simon. Oh, really? And then Keith, Keith, stop it. Yeah, well, so I have to go through and fix that so that you can hear it well. If we're going to play it the same day, it might be a little difficult. Sorry, but we're doing the best that we can, and it's worth every penny, Mike, to our audience. Every penny that they pay for it.
Yes, it's getting to be an old joke now.
Oh, sorry. Okay, all right. And an extra zero to your paycheck. Yes. So on the front. one of the things that we've been trying to watch over is how the money is being spent. You think? Now, the Daily Courier, right from the get-go, said, well, this is a waste of time. They were saying what we were doing is a waste of time. Wait a minute. shouldn't we be defining that? How about some of our 285,000 views, not viewers, because we
Oh,
all
yes.
know.
Yes. Dale Matthews said there's 285,000 individual
No,
viewers.
no, but that's
Yes,
better than
that's
Rogue
right.
Valley Television.
Unique,
Who
unique viewers.
Yeah, Rogue Valley Television had reported to the commissioners. I was there for this report. It was a couple of years ago. Well, we have 3,000 unique views this week. 3,000 in 1 week. See, that didn't happen anyway. It's not happening now. Well, what do you mean by unique? I got a chance to ask a question. What do you mean by, well, every viewer is unique in his own way. No, that's not what unique viewers means.
That's right.
That means different individual people coming, and they knew that. Come on.
Yes.
Okay, so we're trying to watch over. We're going to play a tape today where we were watching over the county commissioners talking about how they spend money on handing out grants. It's important to understand that the finance director, this is Arthur O'Hare, thought he was a good guy. Hasn't really turned out that way. He actually came in and said to them, I know that you're considering, this is a paraphrase, I know that you're considering loaning money to different organizations. But it'd be so much easier if you just gave it to them as a grant. Because tracking down whether they paid or not, that's a lot of work.
Oh, yes. That's something a government worker would say. Now, let me ask you something. If they loan money to somebody for economic development purposes, does that get paid back into the economic development fund? Or does that just come back into the general fund? Thank you very much.
That's the theory. But I've not heard a single piece of, I'm going to tell you why it's a theory.
That was an either or.
Well, yes. The answer is yes. That's the theory. But
what is the theory? That it gets paid back into the general fund or it gets paid back into the economic development fund?
It gets paid back into the economic development fund. That's the theory. Okay. The normal logical way that things would operate, it get paid back into the economic development fund, then you loan it out to somebody else.
Sure.
But and we've mentioned this on the show before, the former chief financial officer reported on tape, their tape and ours, that she had been ordered not to follow through on whether people were spending the grant money right or even repaying the loans. Ordered not to follow through. And when asked, who ordered you to do that, she didn't want to answer. So either it wasn't true or it was true, but she didn't want to finger the guilty. So you never hear a report ever since that time about, even now, about what's going on with the results. So aren't we just being too cruel to these guys, Mike? I mean, they're doing the best that we can. Isn't this the best group of county commissioners we've ever had in history? I mean, people have gotten up and said that.
Well, you know my opinion about economic development. I think the whole thing is a scam, and I think it probably doesn't matter a great deal whether these guys give this stuff out as grants or loans. It's all going to add up to the same thing. The only benefit that I can see from giving it out as a loan as opposed to a grant is that then that money comes back in again that can then be given out to other people to blow out of a cannon. So I mean, it's a negligible benefit, I think.
I think that saying it's blown out of a cannon is being pretty generous too, and for a family show. Look, the other thing is, the reason that we're looking at this so carefully, it's emblematic of this group of county commissioners that there was a group that came in, the IVCDO, Illinois Valley Community Development Organization, you heard this 1,000 times, and they made an outrageous claim that if you gave them enough money so that they could put ramps in a state park, that they would create up to 214 full-time family wage jobs. It's ridiculous, and instead of laughing at them and saying, "Come on, guys, don't be stupid," okay, they rewarded them. They gave them the money. So the IVCDO learned a lesson from that. Kenny Hauk out in the Illinois Valley. And when they came back in and they applied again, this time they said, well, we're going to put a plaque on a rock, and that's going to create 90 full-time family wage jobs. And instead of laughing again, the commissioner said, okay, and they gave them that money. Now, did they learn any lesson from us teasing them about this and saying, this is ridiculous, it's a perfect symbol of this administration? No, because now then they also gave another $25,000 to the IVCDO so that they could be in charge of the money instead of the commissioners being in charge. They just handed away their power to the IVCDO. That's three things based on at least two lies. They're ridiculous lies. And where's our report about how that's going? There's never going to be a report because there's never going to be jobs created. Jobs at the gas station created because of a plaque on a rock. Come on. Okay.
Well,
but there's one more step to that, one more step. And now IVCDO has said, we're going to develop an economic development plan similar to the one that's being done by So Ready, similar to the sort of Southern Oregon Regional Economic Development Inc., similar to the one that's being done, that was supposed to have been done by Cheryl Walker. It took her 3 years. She didn't really do it. I told you about the results of that. I paid to get her report, which is ridiculous. It was
or
just
Echo Northwest
or Echo or Econ Northwest that Cheryl keeps calling. And so Echo Northwest is now going to be hired by Grants Pass City and Josephine County. They're going to come up with our economic development plan. Well, IVCDO says, hey, we're going to need tens of thousands of dollars to figure out what we want to do in giving away the money that you gave us. Tens of thousands of dollars. And so by my count, it's pushing up toward $50,000, which is more than we gave to the city to get a thing for the whole county. And this is IVCDO, just this one little tiny group that purports to do stuff for the entire county. No, they don't. Okay, but they're going to need a bunch of money, Mike.
Yeah, but listen, at some point, here's how I think this thing operates. I think it operates that their intentions are good, so therefore it's a worthwhile thing to do. It has nothing to do with results. 10 or 15 years down the road, and I think we are 10 or 15 years down the road with some of these organizations, some of them perhaps longer, and you could judge the results of what they have done and see how much money's been given to them and how much that ends up turning into in terms of economic development. I think those results are probably out there, but none of these things matter to county commissioners at all that believe that, oh, you just don't understand economic development. This is how it's done.
It's a lot of fun for them to hand out money. They're Santa Claus every day. It's a lot of fun. It's not fun to follow up on how it's being spent. Because then you got to go to your friends and say, listen, did you spend? Why are you asking me this? You never asked me before. Yeah, but now there's pressure. Forget about the pressure. It'll go away. These guys are videotaping you. They're not going to video. And then the Courier has said it's a waste of time. Why would anybody bother? They're going to tell us what a waste of time is. We've got a lot of viewers. Oh, no, it's a waste of time, and let's just not do that. Well, the Courier doesn't. So why would anybody else? And KJO, forget about it. So we've got a piece of tape for you to see. We're going to play it back. We're going to talk about the little bits and pieces here, and until we run out of time or money.
Yeah, so it's going to be a real short show. Here we go.
So I'm just going to focus on a couple of things here this morning. The economic development requests that have come in over the last couple of weeks. Of course, they got delayed a little bit because I was out of the office, so they're anxiously awaiting. No.
We'll start deposit slip ready to go.
They're waiting. The first one we did discuss briefly last week with the IVCDO strategic planning. The USDA was providing the bulk of the monetary support. Our piece, $1,500, is just a small portion of the total cost of that project. most of the support coming from both the IVCDO itself and some of the local Oregon Caves, SBDC, but the USDA and Ford Foundation are the major contributors to that. But they are requesting $1,500 from us to help support that strategic plan.
Yay.
Well, that's the Ford Family Foundation, not the Ford Foundation. And the United States Department of Agriculture is going to support the IVCDO so they can come up with a rip-roaring plan to coordinate with everybody else because they're a major player now. Really?
Again, I think that these things are, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has probably a bunch of money that they have to give out to people, and they go, oh, we did this, we did that, we did this. There's no accountability. None of this. It doesn't really matter. None of this stuff. It's all just money shot out of a cannon for the purpose of saying we did this. That's all.
Well, I'm still not happy with it, and I'm still going to try to hold them accountable.
Okay. And to what end? I think that, okay. So what would you do with economic development any differently? The idea, well, hang on. Okay. All right. Hang on. The idea somehow that you're going to do something different under the guise of economic development is just a farce. The only possible thing that I think is any good is you use the same sort of deceptive practice that they do when they give money out to themselves inside a government and their friends over in the library, who they hope to reabsorb sooner or later when all of a sudden a bunch of money comes into their coffers. The only way to do this is to take that money and give it over to the sheriff and call that economic development. Anything else, you're fooling yourself. You really are.
We're 100% in agreement. We're going to be talking about that Sunday night, which we do every Sunday, about what would you do if you were running for county commissioner. And since it was declared in trying to push these raising of property taxes on us, that it's an emergency, Will Robinson, okay? And since that's the case, well, let's declare an emergency and we'll take the economic development. Companies aren't moving here because we don't have a sheriff.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what they say.
Right. That's what they said. Let's put it there. And the other reason the companies aren't moving here because of this show. I'm not kidding you. That's what she said.
Of course. But the thing is that it doesn't matter if we gave that money to the sheriff. That's not even going to make any sort of appreciable difference that would influence a company one way or the other about the level of public safety.
No, that's all just foolishness anyway.
Yes, of course.
All foolishness. Okay. The only thing that's going to influence that company is the attraction that people are going to have to the Rogue River now that we've got arsenic and maybe some gold flowing down the river.
They don't even care about that. Listen, I'll tell you what companies care about. They care about the bottom line and what is this area going to be punitive to them, like the area that they're considering moving from, because that's why they're considering moving. That's why they want to come here. They're probably coming here from California, who's coming at them from 50 different directions. So unless you address something like that with your economic development, you're not doing anything.
Well, if they'd only moved to Grants Pass, then the Grants Pass City Council would vote to slap a sales tax on them.
Right. Ooh. Yes.
Okay. More of the tape.
Uh-huh.
And this has come through the process that we have. This is recommended by.
This is different.
This is different. And actually,
is it just for business loan grants?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah.
Right. If the Chamber of Commerce GP,
that will actually be the next topic that I'll bring up. I do have a.
And I do want to mention that the $1,500 is leveraged out to 29,000 USDA.
Yes.
So it's a very appropriate and like you said, kind of a token amount. But I think given that we invested 37 in the city and Joko, Josephine County as a whole, 1,500 is definitely.
All right, it's not being leveraged. It's not being leveraged. They've already got this as a deal. See, so it is a token amount. $1,500 that's more than I make in a month on fixed income. Okay, but this is not leveraging anything. It's putting our foot in the door, and that's all. It's not leverage. It's a lie. What's new? Next.
Nothing.
It'll be really great to have everybody have a plan. Really, and they're going to be they're willing to work and integrate both and all of this. So it's
well, right to me, that is the key right there. Everybody has something that has been vetted with everybody else, and everybody knows what's going on, and so we're aware of what your plans are because they can coordinate with that. And this ability to speak with knowledge as to what the plan is. It's not just my plan, that's our plan. We understand everybody's got their own particular area of concern and interest, but yet it's not unilaterally their own. It's done in the conjunction of the whole picture. So I like that.
Brother.
Okay. Whatever.
What? Hey, we're going to speak with knowledge. Look, okay, they're lovely people out there, but it's 3 boys and a dog. I mean, it's not as big an operation as you would think of Grants Pass or as the city or as a county government, and yet they're going to get a large proportion of the same amount of money in order to be able to put this thing together, and their players on the field, and we're going to coordinate with them and cooperate with them and collaborate with them. It's just so much blather, really. I mean, next videotape.
And this is how I was trying to clarify, I think, some statements that I made relative to Econ Northwest.
Even he's saying it now.
He's calling it, yeah.
Timber and forest management. And I think for clarity, the element of advocacy on practices of forest management is where I don't want Econ Northwest to go. But the utilization, the vertical integration of
vertical integration. Come on.
Oh, that's a good one.
Would you talk in English, please?
Cross-laminate technology, or anybody.
Cross-laminate technology. It's wood.
Cutting-edge technology of building with wood products. That is fine. That should be included. What are those value-added products from wood that could be part of the economy of Josephine? And that's great. But I'm sure the plan shouldn't go into that they're for stewardship or even age stands. They don't want it on LSR. No.
LSR, late secession reserve. Throw in a couple extra phrases.
The Oregon Business Leaders Summit last year in January.
Yes, you were there.
It was huge. The talk of utilizing wood in a green fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Sustainable.
And it's resilient to seismic types of activity where steel and concrete, you may survive the building, but then you're going to have to tear it down afterwards. And these wood frame ones, cross-laminate, or you can fix them. You don't have to tear them down. So that's just some clarity.
It happens at every weekly business session. Simon's got to trot out, look how smart I am. Now I'm going to use a lot of words where I could say wood, but what I'm going to say instead is cross-laminate technology. Thank you, Simon Hare.
In other words, like OSB, the oriented strand board stuff where they glue together a lot of the chipped parts, and make plywood out of it. That's the same thing, cross-laminate technology.
They're not going to call it wood stew. They're going to call it OSB.
Yes, but, listen, none of this talk means that a company is going to come here and do it. No. Unless the financials pencil out. You're not going to come here and build a plant and, listen, you would have to have the county roll out the red carpet for them, and they're not going to do that. So, they're
looking at them as a food source. Just like they look at us as a food source.
Right. Exactly.
We're going to eat them alive when we get the chance.
Yes, and the thing is that that's not really how economies grow. Economies grow when the obstructions get out of the way, and then people come in and do what is natural for them to do, and then you have growth that comes out of that, and then the government gets funded as a byproduct of all of that. When they immediately go, well, hey, look at that new business, let's go over there and see how much of their money we can take. That's the wrong way to go about it, but it's the way that government seems to always opt for, and that's why you don't have a whole lot going on around here.
But Mike, you don't understand. This is real high technology. This isn't just wood anymore. It's cross-laminate technology.
Right. Yes. Well, I would imagine that because of the great level of activity of environmental groups in our area that has basically shut the natural resources economy down. What then about the presence of those groups in this area would some manufacturing business want to come in here and become their target?
What the number one thing that they would be interested in that could be done here that's not gold mining, because Gold Hill, we started because gold was found here. Well, duh. Right. And then a little bit later on, someone said, oh, these pesky trees are in the way. Maybe there's something we can do with them. And then suddenly that became a big deal. Now, what's the big deal that people who are green oriented in California, et cetera, would want to move here and be part of? Mike, you know the answer.
I'm expecting that where you're going is marijuana.
Absolutely. That's what they'd be interested in.
Environmentalist groups are not going to get in the way of that because that's right up their alley.
Yep. It's right up something. Okay. Yeah. Next, please.
Thank you. Number 2.
Are we moving that forward?
Yes.
The center admin.
This would be on, this has to be admin, right?
He never knows. He always has
It's not a specific budget item. We approved it. And I think we really want the opportunity to talk about it.
Right.
Commissioner Walker's liaison.
Yep. Right.
It's up to you who you want to talk about it. It's not complicated. It's just.
And to me,
this was you were out there to see. I couldn't go that day, so and I was glad you were able to go. But I think since you've been there and talk to the people, I think it might happen. I mean, I'm not trying to get rid of it. I'm just saying you were there and talked to them.
You are, but I'm going to give it right back next Wednesday.
Oh. Okay.
Smooth.
I'm willing to do it.
I'll talk to Kenny.
But
I'll talk to Kenny.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Oh, it's so good, Mike.
I have no idea. What was that?
Well, she was saying, Simon, why don't you talk about it on Wednesday, what this is about? And he said, I'd love to do that. In fact, he started to say that he would. And then he thought, oh, no, wait, I can't because he wasn't going to be here. Now, I'm not saying very pathetic. I'm saying, where is our peripatetic? Which means guy that's traveling all over the place, because I'm inspired by his talk of cross-laminate technology. I'm going to use big words where you don't need to. Where was our peripatetic commissioner? Where is Simon here these days? How come he's not showing up for this and this and this and this? You know where he was? The Coastal Conference.
Yes.
Somebody that's from the interior of Oregon has to go to the Coastal Conference because, well,
good margaritas.
Well, now there's nobody that's going to be watching over him as he's out there partying it up. Okay, that's a possibility. But more likely it is that it's almost like he's running for state office. I mean, he's going to make all these buddies, all these friends. He's not just getting coffee in Washington, D.C. anymore. Why, he's a political player. And when you think of the ways that he's turned around Josephine County, why, those videotapes are going to follow him forever. And he's going to move on up to be the governor. Got to go to the Coastal Conference. Why would you spend time in boring old Josephine County just doing your job? Let me get on the next plane or next bus or next. I got to stay, and I'm going to take people out to dinner and sure, all on our tax dollar, of course. Can't just be hanging around here. This is boring around here. There's no money to be spent except on grants. Let's watch more grants. Give away some more grants.
Well, and I'm guessing that they, as the board, they think of that as progress. If let's see here, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
And you don't understand economic development if you don't understand the value of going to as many conferences and speaking about things, whatever it is, as many as possible.
Right. Sure.
Tape. Play the tape.
Oh, you wanted some more video.
Yes, please.
All right. I'll give you some of that. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
The second one is, for the last several years, we've been providing support to the library for what they call their core service project. So this is the annual request for continuing that support. So $35,000 to the JCLI.
Well, they have specific projects that they're looking to try to accomplish.
Correct.
For the last several years, it's been an investment in technology.
Yes.
I think this one's a little different. It's for their children's section, is that right?
Well, yes and no. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just wonder, has anybody gone over there to see if they spent the money the way they said they were going to spend the money last year?
No, because I'll tell you why we know that that's not the case, because I told them that you could see pornography easily on those computers just by going to Google. Not like Google Hangouts,
but
they didn't bother to go. They're not going to go.
Yeah, but they don't care about your thing in the porn. They don't care about that. But this should fall into, you would think, a different category, because they're funding a particular thing. They're giving. I think one year they gave their entire endowment there to the library.
$300,000, and the library people said, we'll never come back to you again. We won't have to, because that's going to carry us. And what they've done is
been back every year,
every single year. Okay. Yes. Even if we stop the whole show right here, oh please. Even if we stop it right here, this is emblematic of the entire thing. Number one, any group like this is supposed to say what they're spending the money on. If they have a concentration, and Simon Hare thinks that it's the children's library section, then they're supposed to say so. But he's going to find out in a moment they don't want to say so. Does that sound familiar? Well, that was on a previous levy attempt. Let's keep the numbers purposely vague. They said that in a meeting more than once. That purposely vague thing, that, remember the May levy? We may spend it on this, we may not. It was in May. They didn't want to say how they were going to spend it. These guys don't want to say that. So Simon has been led to believe, as have a lot of people in this community, that this is going to go to books for the kids. Because, you can't be showing these kids old books, Mike. I mean, 6-year-olds come in, they're pretty demanding, and they don't want some old books. You can't have Cat in the Hat. You can't have The Man in the Yellow.
It better be current.
It better be dang current, right?
Yes. I want SpongeBob.
No, that's not current, man.
Yeah,
so, no. And so that's not going to be good enough, okay? So then the thing that they're talking about, that they've been talking about for the last couple of years in general, is technology. Now, what do you think that they mean by technology all the time? What do they want?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it sounds like they would be updating computers and computer systems and things like that.
Right. So, as far as I know, there's no card catalog anymore. Really? Yeah, it's all electronic. But this is not. That's not for kids. Okay, in general, they want more computers, more computers. Now, hold on a second. What was it that I brought up to them about their computers that they're not doing? Well, there's not enough money, and there's not enough time, and there's not enough willingness.
Listen, they don't care. That's the problem with the thing with the computers in terms of filtering them for pornography. They don't care. To them, that's not an issue. As a matter of fact, they would probably point out a study to you that it's not been determined that sex with children is damaging to them psychologically. This is stuff that they're talking about.
Exactly with what the guy that was there and the librarian at that point, the librarian on duty, said to me. I said, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, these people are dedicated to having sex with underage children. And no, you may not be able to go to that site, because I didn't try. Okay. Well, aren't you a journalist? Please, it's just there's certain limits, right? But you can find images from there real easy without even trying. I wasn't looking for that, and boom, they're images. Nobody's interested in the text. This is what I did last week. No, they're looking for the pictures if they're looking, and it's right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I told them about this, the guy said, well, that's free speech for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously the thinking of these people is entirely different than what probably many people would say is acceptable standards.
Yeah, and
yeah, I'd say the majority.
For bringing this up, they called me a pervert. They said I was hacking into the system. This is the head of the library group. Okay, this is the person everybody loves, Kate Lasky. Not Kate Lasky. I love her. Yeah, I understand your point. I was a donator. Not anymore. 3-figure donator. That's just me, and I don't even bring in any money. Okay, but the point is that these guys, and what they kept saying over and over again after calling me a pervert for even mentioning it, and I'm the donor. Did I mention I'm a donor? I was. Even after that, well, the reason I had to be is they said, well, we don't want anybody to be confused by this because don't forget we need money. Oh, really? So you're going to trade the fact that you are in loco parentis, which means crazy parents, in my opinion. You are going to trade in your responsibility to watch over these kids because you need the money. I love libraries. Well, the books are okay. The walls are fine.
I don't understand. I mean, if you're a parent and the libraries are important to you and you donate to the libraries and things of that nature, you're always taking your kids to the libraries, you would think that it would be important to have some sort of filter for pornography on the library internet. So why? I mean, this is the thing. It seems like what they care for, about what goes on in the library is not necessarily in alignment with their clientele.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And look, the other thing is Cheryl Walker was leading them in the laughing. They were applauded. They were applauding at a public meeting. They're not supposed to applaud at a public meeting. I think that's stupid. But they're not supposed to do that. As Mike pointed out, they did at the Gold Hill City Council meeting. What's the problem? I don't know. Maybe they don't allow booing, or maybe they do. So what's the deal? Well, you can applaud for government employees, but you can't applaud for citizens. That's the bottom line at our meetings. Look, the point is that when you've got people who are so far out of alignment with the way that you think, as I was saying, there's nothing wrong with books. There's nothing wrong with the walls. I spent most of my younger years in libraries. Okay, so I'm totally in favor of that. But don't tell me that there's nothing you can do about it. That I'm not a book burner. Huckleberry Finn must be run out of. No, I don't think he needs to be run out of town. He's a fictional character, first of all. But or sold down the river with Jim the Slave, or whatever that guy's name is. But look, the point is that that I'm not one of those kind of people, but I do think that it's important that you not make it readily available to the kids, or maybe even to the adults. I'm not a prude. I mean, look at it if you want to, but how is it possible that they're saying, and it's led by Cheryl Walker, and apparently these guys believe in that because they haven't put any restrictions. Hey, we're going to do this, but you really need to shape up. You get no. You hear them doing that? No, another 35,000.
I personally don't think that has any place in the library at all. Just have somebody listen. If you really want to do that, get yourself a computer and some internet access. It's an easy thing to do if that's what you care to do. It's not being hidden from you. So
the reason this could be our last clip, I don't mean in the history of this show. I mean, the reason we could stop any time now is that, look, here's another point about all this. Didn't we have a vote not too long ago where the people, whether they're lunkheads or experts, decided not to give their money, to give their tax dollars to the library? They said, library, you do it on your own. Didn't we just have that vote?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the commissioner's response to that clear answer from the electorate? What are they doing here?
Yeah, exactly. They're giving them money.
And they do it every year, and they're not surprised. They're back for another $35,000. So if you thought, well, I don't like giving them $100,000 over 5 years, they're going to get it anyway. The commissioners are going to make sure that they get it.
Yeah, and as I've said, I think that it's probably even been openly spoken about between the parties here that at some point when they can figure out how to get more money out of the populace here, that the library will just be reabsorbed into the local government. Why would they, dispatch it entirely? Look, Jackson County has been very successful. They would say successful. They would apply that word to it in, squeezing money out of their citizens to support libraries. And those libraries over there are amazing, especially their main one downtown. Have you been there, Dale?
I have not, no.
Yeah. Wow. I've never been in anything like that in terms of a public library. So, and they got like 15 of them over there in that county. And, they just floated some levy to support all of them at a higher rate than we were going to pass for law enforcement here. And the people went for that. So I'm sure that the local government is just holding out hope that at some point they can reabsorb that into their system and, float a bond for it or a levy or something like that.
Well, we also hear from the library on a regular basis that people are there searching for jobs.
Yeah.
Now, I've not been there when anyone was searching for a job. It's probably just coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
I have been there where I saw people screwing around. Okay, if you like to do that at the library, that's okay with me. I have been there where people were looking at pictures that looked a lot like what I was seeing on my screen, but I was keeping it covered up. So, okay, if that's really I don't think kids should be doing that, but that's my personal opinion. And now they want more computers, more computers. I guess for people, part of it has to be for people who don't have good internet access at home. Maybe they don't have a computer, or it may also be, it's not beyond the realm of possibilities, that they want to search for stuff that they don't want traced back to their home.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very good point. Which would probably have them searching for some of that child pornography stuff you were talking about.
Well, I don't know, but that is a possibility. And so why is it, if they're going to have this attitude, here's the bottom line from me. If they're going to have this attitude about how pedophile pictures, I'm not making this up, this is no exaggeration, can end up on a computer that a child is looking at. Well, we all remember the stories of people who were searching for Disneyland in the past, and when you search for Disneyland, that one of the options comes up and you're looking at full-on explicit porn. Because I guess they figured, well, we're going to grab a lot of people looking for Disneyland. Okay, do you think it's beyond the realm of possibility that a child could be sitting down there and want to look at Mickey Mouse? I think it's possible. Okay, so it could possibly reach out to them. If they're going to be that lax about this, okay, and they're going to figure that that's free speech for kids, and they want to increase the number of computers in with the kids. Now, what? Really? Look, I will give again to the library because I think libraries are important. I know a lot of people think they're anachronistic. I think they're important, but I will not give a dime to this library group with this board and these people that are running it with their attitude about laughing when citizens come forward and say, look, there's a problem. Oh, thanks for telling us. At least they could say thanks for telling us and then laugh about it afterwards. No, they were being led into laughter and the applause by Cheryl Walker. This is why I'm mystified by this advertising circular that goes out every month, the sneak preview that says she's the best commissioner ever. Really? I'm not going to give him any money for this. Nope. Love libraries. but it's not the top priority for me. The voters have made sure that the commissioners know it's not top priority. It doesn't matter what you voted. They're going to give them the money anyway. $35,000 here. You want to play a little bit more, or do you want to call that the end? What do you say, Mike?
Well, we got about a minute 31 left in this set here. Might as well finish that off. I think
we can play a minute 31. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Well, they have
A list of things we want to do.
quite a list, yes.
There's a list of things.
And
No shortage.
A bigger list this morning.
and
There's
but
no
they,
shortage. Go over and look at the books. I mean, the collections are just,
Go over and look at the books on the collection there. I think that's what she said.
What's that mean?
I don't know. I guess what it's saying, I guess what she's saying is they don't have enough books in the library.
Okay.
Okay.
And so they're wanting to get more books in the library, or?
Yeah. Well, they need a lot of things, but that's not the way this kind of stuff is supposed to be spent. You're supposed to be specific. Those are the rules. Those are our internal rules. Now, we're going to ignore those rules when it comes to the library, including ignoring what people have said they want to do with their money. Because, look, it's just like the TV stations in Medford who think that we're crazy for saying no to paying more for law enforcement. They think that we're crazy. And anything that we say to the contrary, even Bill Meyer, they don't like it. Okay? Well, the commissioners think that we're absolutely crazy for not supporting our library to the tune that they think it should be done, no matter what the library does. Doesn't matter what the library is doing. And so they're going to spend the money, even though you said, no, thank you, don't do that. They're still going to do it. It doesn't matter what you voted. And it doesn't matter that you're outraged about pornography. It doesn't matter, because she'll lead the applause against you. She'll encourage people to applaud at a meeting where you're not supposed to applaud, because they're going to say no to you too. It doesn't matter what you think. And all we can do is just look at it and say, well, this is what they're doing. I mean, I've gotten up and I pleaded about it. Mike has talked about it. Even Mike has gotten up at a weekly business session and said things about that.
Yes, I have.
They're not going to listen to him either. More? Is there more?
technology, I mean, is one of the 5 areas that they are emphasizing here. Also, they're saying that part of this will be to help host programs, maintain the library space.
What?
Okay.
Maintain the library space?
Yeah. In other words, we keep paying for the guy that comes and sweeps after everybody leaves. I'm assuming
they need money to help maintain the library space. Doesn't that sound a lot like what Simon was saying before? I mean, blathery kind of. What does maintain the library space mean? Oh, there's going to be. Hey, don't you know? And maintain the No, I don't. What is maintaining the library space?
Yeah, well, I think that's what it means. Is hit it with a broom every once in a while, and wipe off the counters and clean the bathrooms. That's what it would mean to me. But
and they're desperate for money to do that.
Well, I mean, apparently,
volunteers can't handle the sweeping, Mike. I mean, please.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, and I guess a lot of their, staff are volunteers, aren't they?
Yes. The whole, I mean, they probably get more money. God bless them. They probably get more money from volunteers and from people's donations than any library in the state. That's probably true. Okay. Which is great. And so it's a library. Instead of saying we're a library that's supported by the people, they say, ooh, you voted no, and we're still getting the money.
Yeah. That's right. Funny people. Okay.
I kind of had it up to here with this, but there's a lot more. Maybe we'll play more of it for you on Monday or something like that about some of their other priorities, which I think are kind of just out of whack. But obviously, it's because I don't understand economic development, Mike.
That's right.